more. So pat yourself on the back, because that's number one, to show up, to recognize that you need more, you want more, and to plug in. That's step one. So I'm super proud of you guys just for that fact. And you should be proud of yourself too for that. Secondly, whatever has happened this morning, before now, yesterday, it's all gone. It's gone. So be very present in this moment for yourself. So shake it off, let it go, put your phone on do not disturb. Don't be checking text messages. Just be here in this moment right now, because it's temporary. Okay. So that being said, let me see if I can do this to share my screen. Let's see. All right. I'm going to pull up this little presentation for you guys. And I want you taking notes. Definitely want you taking notes, because I think that will be very helpful. Don't think that you're going to be able to remember everything. You're not going to memorize everything like you used to. So don't fool yourself. Write it down. All right. When you put that pen to paper, something happens in your brain. All right. So we're talking today about connect and credibility. Pro tips, connecting and credibility. That's steps 1 and 2, right? Steps 1 and 2. Can everybody see my screen okay? Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So Bobby and I kind of going to bounce back and forth some ideas here. Let's talk about connect first. And then I'm going to introduce at the end to you a new C word that I think is maybe a missing component for a lot of people. So connecting is all about likability, isn't it? It's all about likability. I hope y'all can see this okay. You should be able, if you're on your iPad, phone, computer, whatever, you should be able to zoom in. If you need to see the words clearly, you should be able to just on your own screen, pinch and zoom in, okay? So connecting, likability, this comes in multiple forms. There's a lot of ways that we can really build that connection with somebody. This comes through complimenting. If you're not complimenting from minute 1 with Miss Johnson at the door, on the door approach, be sure you do that. It brings this like human element to your approach versus it being all business. It breaks the ice a little bit. It helps her drop that wall down. I'm just a natural complimenter. Pretty much like anytime that you might be around me, I'm going to find something to compliment you about. That just comes naturally to me. It may not to you, but challenge yourself to compliment more. I love your dress. Oh, wow, you look pretty. Where are you headed out to? Wow, it smells good in here. What are you cooking? Wow, your plants look beautiful. Do you do all your landscaping? Something. There's got to be something that you can find to compliment. That goes such a long way. It makes people feel good. Doesn't it make you feel good when somebody compliments you about something? Makes you stand a little taller, you know, it lets that guard down a little bit. It's just a natural way to connect. Next thing is huge. Questions. Questions connect. Not necessarily telling them all this stuff about yourself, but questions. That genuine curiosity to get to know a new person, right? Look at Miss Johnson no differently than you would if you show up at a social event and you're being introduced to somebody you've never met before. What do you do? To create conversation, you're asking each other questions to get to know each other, right? Don't let it be this awkward thing, but ask, you know, the very first thing I say when I enter the door, step into the house is I say, hey, so how long have you lived here? Hey, how's it going today? How's your day going so far? Right? It just opens communication when you ask a question. Okay. That's huge. That's huge. Bobby, feel free to step in if you've got something you want to piggyback on at any point. Okay. Commonalities. Connection is establishing a commonality with another person. Okay. So that's another big way that we can establish connection, likability, is what do you have or what can you find that you have in common with this other person? Oh, no way. Your birthday's in October. Cool. Too. That's cool. Mine's the 26th. Oh, that's awesome. You know, I'm a Scorpio, you know. Wow, that's cool that we have that in common. Your name's Renee. My middle name's Renee. How cool is that? I don't get to meet many Renees. something. There is something that you can connect on that you share in common with this person. Whether you have the same taste in furniture or you like the color that's on their walls, find something that kind of goes hand in hand with complimenting, but find something that you share in common with them and say it out loud and be excited about it. Don't be like robotic, like, oh, I like your, yeah, we like the same wall color, Miss Johnson. That's okay. Like be excited, be enthusiastic, show some passion. That in and of itself goes a long way. All right, active listening. And if you can make sure that you are muted, I would super duper appreciate it. Just had a little feedback there. Active listening. Active listening is connection. I think sometimes we mistake connection for we've got to always be talking. We always have to be saying something. No, we don't. Connection is also actively listening, being present in the moment, soaking in whatever is going on with Miss Johnson. Do not be on your phone while you're connecting. If you're on your phone, what in the world? Like, first of all, you got to remember these are older people. They're from another generation. They don't respect somebody who they've just met with their face on their phone and kind of in between that phone blocking between the two of you. They don't respect that. They're like, oh, what's going on? If you need to text somebody and you need to stay on top of something, do it from your iPad. You can text from your iPad, and most likely you're already going to be on your iPad anyway, right? So if you have to check up on your kid or whatever, do it on your iPad, not on your phone. All right. But actively listening, make sure you know what she's saying, because whatever she says, you should be sort of, coming back with, oh, wow. If she talks about her child who passed away, you want to make sure you don't miss little things like that to the point that you are not responding to it, that you're just, it's sort of like you're not acknowledging it fully, right?
And I like to keep eye contact, yes. And that way with the eye contact, they know that you're paying attention to whatever they're saying,
yes.
Versus looking at your tablet or something else.
Yes, eye contact is so important. Eye contact in and of itself says, I care, I'm here, right? That's part of the next one is body language. Be leaning forward, be engaged with them, be perked up, have this like open body language that they feel that they can be vulnerable with you. Don't be sitting there with your arms crossed and, like, I don't know, almost in a position of you don't really care. Sit up straight, make eye contact with them, actively listen to them, and the way that they know you're actively listening, besides you making eye contact, nodding your head, shaking your head, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear you lost your child, just little visuals like that, is repeating back to them what they just said. So you said
also mimic their posture, whatever they're doing. If they're leaning back in the chair, then I like to lean back because they're relaxed at that point. Yeah. So I can lean back now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of like, mirroring them, kind of being a chameleon. If they talk nice and slow and quiet, you talk nice and slow and quiet. Be them. Again, that's establishing, commonality with them. Be authentic. Be sure that you're being yourself. You're not a robot. You're not just spatting off lines of a script. Be you. Bring your personality to the table. If you are a funny person, be funny. Don't hold that back. Be real. They might not always be, book smart necessarily, but man, they have great common sense. They've got great intuition, and they can tell if you're being sort of fake. They can tell if you're putting on a performance. Don't put on a performance, just be you. Let your personality shine through. But also, obviously, in, elevating your professionalism and your delivery. Connecting is all about them. So that's the takeaway on this slide. Connecting is all about them. If they say they traveled to whatever, they took a cruise and, they're telling you about that, don't say, oh yeah, I did that too. And then start telling them all about your vacation. I think a lot of people make that mistake. That's not you connecting to them when you're sharing all about them. It's kind of like that goes in one ear and right out the other. People just don't really care too much when you're just kind of talking about yourself. So it's all about them. Keep asking questions. If you don't know what questions to ask, talk to your coach. Say, I get stuck. I ask this, and then that's pretty much it. And I don't know where to go from there. And it gets awkward. It's kind of like awkward silence. Talk to your coach. They will tell you what questions to ask. All right. So moving on, let me take a sip of water real quick.
One more thing to throw in on that. A lot of the seniors that we meet with, they don't get to see a lot of people very often. So a lot of the times, even the family members don't come and see them. So whenever we do show up, they do want to talk, and they want to have someone that listens to them. So they're excited a lot of times whenever you are able to get into the door, and then sit down and just let them vent, or whatever it is for a few moments, and just have that conversation with them, and again, they know if it's authentic or not. They know if you're just trying to sell them something. But if you are truly there to help them, they know that.
Yeah, connection shouldn't come with an agenda. It shouldn't come with an agenda. It shouldn't be done just to check a box off of your presentation steps so you can move on to the next thing with an agenda to make a sale. You do it because you care about people, right? And the results naturally fall into places. You're doing the right thing and being you to try to, help Miss Johnson in that moment. Be real. Okay. So next is that connection should be felt, not said. Yes, we're teaching you a lot of things to say, sure, but you feel a connection. And one way that I do that is if I simply, get a really good smile from Miss Johnson, or I share a laugh with her about something, or she's just like, come here, come here back here, in the hallway. Let me show you my family pictures back, if she's taking you further into the house, or she continues to want to show you things, she's feeling comfortable with you. You feel, when you've reached that sort of comfort level with Miss Johnson. You do not need to put a timer on connection. I think some people connect way too long because they feel like they have to ask a list of 10 questions first, or they have to connect for a minimum of 10 minutes before they move on. No, you absolutely do not. The moment you feel that connection, the moment you see Miss Johnson sitting back a little bit, relaxing her body language, the moment you share a laugh with her, or you make her smile, or, she says something that just, she's at ease with you, let's move on. You've got your connection. That's all you need. Move on, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. On the flip side, a lot of people rush their connection because you're just thinking about the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, right? You're anticipating what's to come versus living in that moment. But you have to remember this. I mean, this quote is so powerful and it's so true. Maybe cliche, but gosh, it is so applicable. They don't care how much you know. So don't rush along your presentation so you can just share all the knowledge that you have about the living benefits and life insurance and think that that's going to make Miss Johnson like you. No, she needs to know that you care and that you're there, not with some agenda. Okay. Make a friend feel a need. We say that all the time. That's your first job. Your first job is not to sell insurance. Your first job is to make a friend and connect with them and fill a need that they have. And the results come naturally as you do the right thing. And I already said that a couple times. Let your personality shine. You're talking to a person. You're not rehearsing a script. Stop thinking so much about what's the next line I need to say. Oh no, I messed up. I said that word wrong. I said that line wrong. She's not going to know unless you give it away. So make sure you maintain your confidence as you go. Make sure you maintain your authenticity as you go, and you don't get so caught up in just a script throughout a presentation step that you lose her, you lose yourself in that, right? I think that's huge. Anything else on that, Bobby?
No, I think you hit it on the head.
Cool. All right, here we go. I want to try to get us out at 9:30, even though we started a little bit late. Credibility. We're going to move on. Does anybody have any questions first about connection? Any questions, any comments, anything before we move on to credibility? No? Okay, cool. So you remember when you were in new agent training and we talked about VOLT, and we still hear that on conference calls regularly. VULT, value, urgency, likability, trust, right? So the connection is likability. Credibility is the trust factor. You have to have both. You have to equally have both. So connection, for me anyway, is all of the body language, the talking, the questions, the eye contact, all of that. But credibility, you have to show some things at this stage. You don't necessarily have to show much with connection unless you're showing, your family's pictures because she's showing you her family. But here we're really showing and telling, aren't we? What are we showing? What are we showing? You guys know. We're showing the Better Business Bureau certificate. We're showing our state license, right? You're not just showing, but you're talking through it too. What do you want her to hear about these things? You don't want her to just see it, but you want her to understand at her level of understanding what this means and why it's important for you to show this to her, right? So, Miss Johnson, I want to show you some of our credentials. Credentials. Use that word. I want to show you just a few of our credentials so you kind of know where we're coming from and how we can help you. This is our Better Business Bureau Certificate of Accreditation. Use these big words, they're credible words. They're professional words. They hold weight to Miss Johnson, right? So we work with North American Senior Benefits, Miss Johnson. We've served millions of seniors. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Do you know a lot of companies out there are not even accredited with a Better Business Bureau because they're not trustworthy enough or they don't follow through with what they say they're going to do? This is why we're accredited, and we're also awarded that A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. That's huge, and we take that very seriously. That says a lot, doesn't it? State license. Here's my state license. I am licensed by the Department of Insurance. If you just say, here's my state license, you're missing a mark here. Build it up more. It is so big that you're licensed by the state. I'm licensed through the Department of Insurance, Miss Johnson. Blow up on either the state seal, your name. If you've been in the business a while, blow up on the date. That's what I do because I've been here for over 8 years. So I blow up on the date. I circle it. And I'm like, I've been here over 8 years. I've been helping people with their benefits for over 8 years, Miss Johnson. I love what I do because I get to help people. I get to make a difference in somebody's family every single day. And that makes me feel good. But not only that, this means that the state, I'm representing the state, I'm representing the Department of Insurance to be in your home today. They had to background check me. They had to fingerprint me. I had to go through schooling. I have to continue going through schooling every 2 years. To keep my license active. I had to pass a really hard state exam. I take my license very seriously because that allows me to be able to be here and help you. So you don't have to necessarily say all of that. I'm just giving you some, extra oomph of things that you can pick and choose to say.
And Adrienne, if you don't mind me jumping in real quick.
Oh.
So those of you who haven't been here a long time, so what I did in the beginning was I would always say I've been here just under, if I had only been here a few months, just under 2 years, just under 3 years, just under 5 years. So sometimes, in the beginning, sorry, my phone's going off. In the beginning, I was a little nervous about showing the date that I received my license just because of the lack of experience. And so I would bypass that part. I would show my license, but not point out when I started. I, would say I'm just under 5 years, and it could only be 3 months. So, just be confident. Either way, just by showing that license that you've achieved.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the last thing I have here is accolades. If you, I mean, even if you're on a smaller team and you got a certificate or you got a shout out for being top agent last week, or you were in the top 10 last week, or you were in the 10K club the month before, man, say that. That's credible. Right now, you're selling Miss Johnson on why she should do business with you. You, not just North American Senior Benefits, but you. What makes you stand out? What makes you better than the next insurance agent that's inevitably going to knock on her door, right? Miss Johnson, it doesn't have to be super braggy, but I actually was nominated to be, or, whatever you can say here. I'm trying to think for myself. I was nominated for a huge national award a couple years ago for my entire company. So, I take what I do very seriously and I love what I do. I've been able to help thousands of seniors and families just like you. So I'm honored to be here to be able to help you with your benefits today. Something credible about yourself other than your license, I think just makes you stand out more. So here's your little formula: confidence plus competence plus professionalism plus assertiveness equals credibility. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into credibility. Yeah. You got to be confident. You have to have a confident delivery. You've got to have confident body language. You have to know what you're talking about. You've got to have that competence. If you haven't studied your material, you haven't studied your resources, you're falling short. You're falling short and you're faking your confidence. And that's not real confidence. You've got to have professionalism. You've got to, you've got to present yourself in a way that you hold yourself up here so that they will too, right? So you want to have, be nicely dressed, smell good, and obviously use those professional vocabulary as you're delivering this information, and be assertive. Stay assertive. As much as we are friendly with them, you also have to have this level of, it's not superiority, it's sort of authority, right? And the way that you speak and the way that you are sort of directing the conversation to go. People buy from people they like and trust. It's not one or the other, it's both. So both hold equal weight. Trust is earned as you go in your presentation. So as you continue into step 3, as you continue throughout, step 4, and as you go the whole entire time, you're continuing to build credibility as they see your knowledge, as they see that you are genuinely trying to help them with something. And you continue to weave in that connect as you go as well. Don't just stop at step 1 with connect. You keep on connecting throughout the entire time. If that means you compliment them on something later to break up business, if that means, I don't know, you allow them a moment to share a story from their past with you, let them do it. Let them do it. All right, here's our final slide here. It's 9:30, so maybe 5 more minutes. You guys, if you can hang out with us, I would appreciate that. Here's a new word I'm introducing to us here. It's clarity. Clarity. Do you know what you're talking about? Because if you don't really know your stuff, you're not speaking with clarity. It doesn't matter how much you know if you can't articulate what you know in a way that Ms. Johnson can understand, right? So if you're still stumbling through what to say with credibility, if you're still stuttering through connect and it feels awkward, if you're still messing around with step 4 and you don't know your stuff like off the back of your hand, you have no clarity with what you're even doing, so that you can articulate it and Ms. Johnson can understand. Again, it doesn't matter how much you think you know if you can't articulate with clarity so that she understands. Okay? So your articulation, the way you say things, your tone, your pace, don't just fly through something you've got to say so you can check a box and move on. This is not a checklist. This is a conversation. right? So make sure you are clearly articulating every word with intentionality, that you're saying, just like I'm doing right now. I'm thinking about every word that's coming out of my mouth so you can clearly understand what I'm delivering to you. Know your audience. These are senior people, seniors. Their their hearing might be a little bit challenged. You might need to, if they're struggling to hear you, you might need to elevate your voice a little bit, but don't yell at them, right? You might need to slow down a little bit. How you might normally talk to your friend group. Slow down, slow down. This is all new information to them. A lot of it's new information. So you got to give them that time and space to really understand what you're saying. Less is more. Stop throwing up on your seniors about everything that there is that when it comes to your presentation. If it's irrelevant information to them, in other words, they've got Medicaid and you're still telling them all about all these different programs, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It means nothing to them. You're wasting your time and you're wasting theirs. Less is more. What's going to actually make a difference for them is what you spend time on. Bobby, anything on that kind of halfway through this slide?
No, you're doing great.
Okay. Sales is the transfer of enthusiasm, you guys. Don't be robotic. Don't be robotic. Be real. Be you, as we've said several times already, but be excited. Be excited. Don't be monotone. Don't be boring, in other words, right? Be excited. You should be passionate about what we do. You should be excited about what's to come for Miss Johnson as you help her with her life insurance. You should be enthusiastic about what that life insurance policy is going to do for this family. Wouldn't you want that for your own? Wouldn't you be excited if somebody helped your family with that, if you weren't in the business already, right? So be genuinely excited about the opportunity that we have. How you say it is more important than what you say. Again, we're talking about clarity. Be very clear in what you're saying. It's not just about what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. It's how you want her to receive what you're saying. Sometimes you might need to be a little bit more serious. Sometimes you might need to be a little bit, more fun and personable, right? But knowing your audience and knowing how you're making them feel as you're delivering information is huge. And the last point here that I have is competence is useless if you can't convey it clearly. So kind of, again, it doesn't matter that you know all your stuff if you can't help her to understand your stuff. So if you're stuttering, you're stammering, you're getting lost, it's awkward, you're not closing, you're spending too much time in any given step or not enough time in other steps and you know it, or maybe you don't and you're just struggling with closing, you've got to disconnect and you need to talk to your coaches. And that's honestly my last point. Y'all plug in to your coaches. They care. They care about your success. They want you to be successful. Genuinely. They want that for you. They want you to experience what that's like. They're there. Use them. Employ them to help you. Don't retreat. Don't isolate yourself. There's no counsel in isolation. I heard that at church this past Sunday. There's no counsel in isolation. You can't possibly think that you can get helped in some way or you can help yourself if you retreat to yourself. That's blocking help from other people. And you will fail. You will fail. You're asking for it if you do that. We don't want that for you. We appreciate you guys. We care about you. We genuinely want you to be successful. We want you to be here. But it starts with you and what you want. And if you say you want something more than you have so far, you got to prove it by putting the work in and by taking all of these things that we're talking about each week during these Zooms seriously, right? Bobby, you have anything else you want to say kind of in closing?
Yeah, I would just pretty much what you said, Adrienne. Just sometimes you do have to slow it down for the seniors, because they might not catch on as quick as, if it was, we were talking to one of you guys, and just be genuine with them. They know whether or not you're there for a sale or if you're truly there to help them. So I just say slow it down. You're helping a friend and
Yeah.
filling a need, and
Yeah.